Before we get into today's lesson, I just want to encourage all those who might be interested in joining WalterBeasleyLessons.com to do so. We have college students there, college graduates, independent recording artists, musicians wanting to improve their sound and improvisation, interviews from Branford Marcellus, Nick Corleone, Mesa Lee, Chuck Loeb, Will Downing, and various others, transcriptions from my recordings, and so on and so forth. So we really encourage you to come on and join us. So we're having a great time. Now, to get into this lesson, what I want to talk about was groove improvisation, specifically my improvisation on the Groove of Washington, Mr. Magic Done Go-Go style on my Walter Beasley Live in the Club recording. Go-Go music is very interesting. It's some people call it a subgenre of R&B. I like to think of it as something that's extremely unique to the Washington, D.C. area, and I approach it much like I do Latin music, in the sense that there's a matrix that you really don't go too far from because it's about the dance, and just go-go is just so funky and so dance oriented that a lot of times where I messed up is that I tried to play too much in the groove or outside the groove and try to do tricky things, or bebop licks, or my interpretation of bebop licks, and try to do something that would be interesting within the framework of the matrix of the go-go groove, and it just didn't work. Go-go is just so funky and so natural that when you do unnatural things to it, it just doesn't feel good. So what I tried to do with the with the Grover Washington groove was to settle in, listen to Biscuit, my drummer, listen to Dave, the bassist, create the go-go vibe of the great go-go groove. They are Washington, D.C. based, and they've been playing it all their lives. And let the music inform me. There's a line that my favorite line that we're going to talk about immediately. It's not the beginning of the solo, but it's a line that we actually use a lot of clips for when we advertise. It simply goes dee doo do da 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 do do. What I try to do is listen for the drums and the go-go beat. And I'm not from DC, so it's not going to sound right. But it's got this kind of like you have to imagine all the components of the groove in your mind before you start to improvise. So I'm hearing all that stuff inside the groove before I even try to put the horn in my mouth and play. So when it came time for me to play with the drums, I let the rhythm section speak, and then I jumped in and just started to play. In the comfort of your home, start your metronome at 92, and I'm going to play the lick for you, the same lick, my favorite lick on the album, and I'm going to show you what I'm thinking. I'm trying to feel the bass and the drums at the bottom of it. I'm trying to fix or make sure that I lock into that groove. And I'm not trying to move. I'm trying to place myself in the middle of the pocket. So what we're going to do is play the groove at 92, and I'm going to show you exactly what I did. Just repeat this over and over again. We're going to break down the groove, break down this piece, break down this phrase in a minute. So here we go. What I'm trying to do is not do too much. I'm trying to get a foundation for my improvisation. What I mean by that is that I'm trying to lock into the bass, drums, and the piano. The piano is probably not playing yet. The bass and the drums, so you can kind of feel that dance, or get that dance going. And then whatever I play outside of that, after that, should be related to the dance. Because as soon as I start trying to do too much, especially in the go-go arena, it becomes too much. And people don't really even pay attention to what you're doing. Now we're going to take this lick apart. We're just going to play the beep bump and let the rest of the rhythm section go. Beep bump, so you can kind of see that the onset of the phrase is very important. So you have to be relaxed and not be You can't anticipate the one, and you can't be too far behind it because, like I said, the matrix of go-go is such that it's about the dance. So if you pull too far behind and you stay there, it's going to affect the ability of the crowd to move. If you get too far up, it's going to create a little bit of anxiety. So there again affects the ability of the crowd to move. So you have to make yourself want to dance from beat one and stay within that pocket, in my opinion, to be able to play this, to solo in this genre effectively. What I tried to do was make sure that the first two beats, or the first two units, the first two lines, the first two notes that I played were in pocket and they didn't move. And when I felt comfortable that I was in the pocket, I just played the second phrase and did that phrase, those two phrases until they pocketed, and then finished out the phrase because people remember what they last hear. So I wanted to make sure that that do da do da dee 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 do beep boom, and make sure that each beat I paid the same amount of attention to. So I didn't cheat one, beat two, I didn't cheat beat three, I didn't cheat beat four. So there again, here again, what we try to do, especially in my opinion, in go-go especially, is pay attention to the groove. The groove is the most important thing. And when you start to take your lines outside the pocket, you start to become a player who's just doing too much. Now what I'm going to do is play along with the piece so you can see kind of what I'm talking about, and you can practice this at home too. Locking in the pocket, and also I do some things that jump off of the improvisation. In other words, I'll use the rhythm section, I'll play my piece, or play my improvisation, and kind of bounce back and forth so you can see if I'm typically doing some transcribing and I'm learning transcript and I'm learning the solo, how the information affects me and how I use the information to do other things. Now here comes our lick. What I tried to do was mimic the phrase. It's been a long time since I played that solo actually, or even listened to it. So I tried to mimic what I did, and I'm using what I did on the record as a springboard to launch into other ideas. This is how I want you to practice it at home. Learn the solo verbatim. There's nothing wrong with learning my solo exactly the way I played it. And the reason why I talked to you about how I thought about the rhythm section or how I feel the rhythm section is I want you to do that first. If you notice on this particular performance, what I did was listen to the rhythm section first before I entered. It's just like, it's analogous to swimming. I like, when I swim, I like going to the water just a little bit at a time, like my feet and my knees and all that kind of stuff. I let the water dictate how I'm going to play. Well, it's the same thing when you're dealing with improvisation. Let the rhythm section, let the music inform you as to what the best idea is. That way you take your ego out of the process and you end up with a better solo.